Hello, hello, hello. Today we're gonna react to another video, a very important one. It's about the entire Donkey Kong family. I didn't watch this one myself yet, and I think I only got to know about the Donkey Kong family tree a little bit through the video of Shulk about um, yeah, where he does a tier list about the Donkey Kong characters, a Donkey Kong family. And today I'm really exhausted. Um, so I'm not doing it with Facecam again. And also, yeah, I think I'm just gonna sound tired. I think you noticed it. But yeah, the Donkey Kong December has to go on. So yeah, I decided for this special day, the second Sunday of December. Oh no, it's fucking Saturday, huh? I fucked up. Anyway, we're still gonna do this. We're gonna watch a video to the entire Donkey Kong family tree explained. By the way, if you watched my last video, I was talking about this animal, and I think I still don't know how it's called, but the movie I was talking about was El Dorado. And after recording this video, I will add this into the description of that video, of the last video. So without further ado, let's hop in.
So the other day I was playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and it just randomly dawned upon me that I don't know the relationship and dynamics between every single Kong family member. I know that's strange to be thinking about, but I was genuinely curious because I wanted to know more about the Kong family, because these were really interesting characters and I had a lot of fun playing Tropical Freeze. But the issue was, it seemed so complicated. The dynamics between these characters was so natural and fun, but I didn't know how any of them even knew each other in the first place. Unfortunately, the relationships between all these
Yeah, I have to agree with this, that you get to know the other characters and kind of like know who they are, but you don't really know their relationship to each other, really how they became, uh, yeah, how they started to interact with each other and stuff like this. Like they just exist. Even like in the Mario movie, it's kind of the same. You have like Cranky Kong as the leader who's like promoting his son Donkey Kong, but all the other Kongs are there as well, but like not really somehow introduced or something.
Kong family members isn't as cut and dry as Mario and Luigi being brothers when it's blatantly obvious and always in your face that Mario and Luigi are supposed to be brothers. But with the Kongs, you kind of have to do a bit more research. So that's why I did it, so you don't have to. Essentially what I'm saying here is I went and did a lot of research on each and every single member of this Kong family, the canon ones that is, nothing from the Donkey Kong Country, TV series or anything because that was irrelevant, but I did research on the characters that are considered canon and put them into a family tree to help make sense of the nonsense, if you will. And to be totally honest with you, I think I'm a lot more confident about it after doing it because it helped it make a lot more sense seeing a visual. I'm someone who's a lot more of a visual and hands-on learner, so making the entire family tree and also just doing the research in itself made me process it a lot more, I don't know, easier. So before we dive into the nitty gritty of the family tree, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed it, and turn on the post notifications bell, that way you never miss a video from me. You guys do not want to miss what I have to say. So the first thing that I incorrectly did was
Ob du ein Like von mir bekommst? Fuck. Switch to German. If you're gonna get a like, fuck, how do I say it in English? We will see if you're gonna get a like from me. It depends.
started off this family tree with Cranky Kong, and that was incorrect because there were so many other people who go before him that really aren't mentioned or aren't mentioned at all. Actually, the only one that was mentioned was Cranky's great grandfather, who was only mentioned in Donkey Kong Country 3 and never actually made an appearance. So from then on, the second generation and third generation are unnamed Kongs who just are never mentioned at all, so I kind of left those spots blank. But then we finally get to Cranky Kong, who is the first one we actually have a picture for, and he is the first Donkey Kong. That would mean that this is the Donkey Kong that makes an appearance in the first Donkey Kong game, where you play as Jumpman to rescue Pauline. And I
Wait,
always thought this
what?
was a little weird because
Yeah, what? Yeah, like two things. So this is actually Cranky Kong. I thought this is our Donkey Kong. I mean, he really looks like Donkey Kong though, and not like Cranky, right? Cranky is like a little bit a different color, but maybe it's coming from aging. I don't know. And it's not Pauline as well. Like, yeah, I think I will add this to this video in the end. Another reaction. Oh no, I will just do another day of reaction to this. More content where I will just show that it's not Pauline, it's Lady.
I don't know. This Donkey Kong turned into Cranky Kong, yet Jumpman kind of just stayed the same as being Mario. It's almost as if Mario was completely ageless, yet Cranky Kong aged extremely fast, or
Yeah,
Donkey Kong at this time period. Donkey Kong Senior, I guess is what we'll call him. Anyway, Cranky Kong would end up marrying Wrinkly Kong, who would
yeah, this is indeed pretty awkward. Yeah.
make her first appearance in Donkey Kong aged extremely fast, or Donkey Kong at this time period. Donkey Kong Senior, I guess is what we'll call him. Anyway, Cranky Kong would end up marrying Wrinkly Kong, who would make her first appearance in Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, and by the time Donkey Kong 64 came out, her character had passed on and only appears as a ghost. However, before this could happen, Cranky and Wrinkly actually had a son.
The fuck? Cranky? Like, of course, he had like a wife, but that she's actually dead is so awkward. Like, oh man, I don't know how to think. Like, I don't know, like, how old is Cranky then? Like, is he like, sh- like, is he gonna die like in a few years, like in the Kong fiction? But like, I don't think they will ever let him die, to be honest. But I mean, he has to be like really, really old, right?
Named Donkey Kong Jr. This is where things always got a little bit complicated for me because at this point we already mentioned two Donkey Kongs and there's still a third one on the way. And this is not the main Donkey Kong. This is the one that has had its own games before, but it's been years since this character was even referenced in anything. Actually, I lied. He's in Mario Kart Tour. But either way, for the longest time, I always believed that this was the Donkey Kong that we always see, but they never said the junior part. They just left that out. But as we see here, that's far from the truth. Either way, Donkey Kong Jr. is actually a pretty popular Kong family member because, I mean, he's had his own games before where he rescued his father, Cranky Kong, and also just made appearances in other Mario Kart games. Suffice
Hmm.
to say, I would argue that you probably have heard of this Kong before, at least in some aspect. Anyway, before slowly fading into the background, Donkey Kong Jr. actually had two sons with an unnamed Kong, and those two sons were Donkey Kong III and an undetermined Kong. We don't know who Donkey Kong's brother would possibly be. We have some ideas and theories, which I'll get into a little bit later in the video, but for now, just keep in mind that DK has a brother. We just don't know who that is yet. Before we move forward from the 6th generation Kong family tree, we do need to talk about Donkey Kong's relationship with Candy Kong, and the two of them, as far as we know, are still in a romantic relationship.
Okay, so it means Donkey Kong the Third is actually the Donkey Kong we always mean and think about. So Donkey Kong Jr., the one I saw in my uh, Google Donkey Kong game, is actually the father of Donkey Kong, even though he looks like man, so tired. So even though he looks like he could be his son or something and not old at all, he's actually like Donkey Kong Jr. and he's the father of Donkey Kong. So he's like so Donkey Kong the third. He is Donkey Kong the third, the second, and our Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong the third. So it's kind of Donkey Kong Jr. Jr. or just Donkey Kong Jr. in relationship to Donkey Kong Jr. Man, this really messed up. So, but actually, it also means that when I like didn't end the game, the Google game, when I saw Donkey Kong Jr., it was actually correct or a loophole, whatever, because he's still a Donkey Kong, right?
I'm not sure if anything has changed since then. I mean, considering the fact that DK has kidnapped Pauline in the past, more recently than we've seen Candy Kong, but as far as I know, I want to say that
Wait,
they're still
what?
going. Two of them, as far as we know, are still in a romantic relationship. I'm not sure if anything has changed since then. I mean, considering the fact that DK has kidnapped Pauline in the past, more recently than we've seen Candy Kong, but as far as I know, I want to say that they're.
It's so awkward because I think the first time I heard about Pauline was actually Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I don't know anything else about her except the fact that people think that Pauline is the girl that Mario tries to save in the first game.
They're still going recently than we've seen Candy Kong, but as far as I know, I want to say that they're still going steady. But going back to the idea of DK having a brother and why it 100% is true is because that's the only way that Diddy Kong could be related to Donkey Kong. From the source material, we know that Diddy Kong is actually supposed to be the nephew of Donkey Kong, which means Donkey Kong is the uncle. So DK would have to have a brother, or I guess a sister, but I'm more confident about a brother in this relationship because there's more evidence to show it as a brother than a sister. So even though the Donkey Kong side of the family tree ends with Diddy Kong,
I would really like to know at this point what evidence the makers of Donkey Kong the developers of the Donkey Kong games show us uh yeah to actually yeah oh man, I'm really tired, to show us, yeah, to indicate that Donkey Kong actually has like a brother and not a sister.
it also does. So
I,
even though
I
the
really
Donkey
like
Kong side of the family
Diddy
tree
Kong
ends
though.
with Diddy Kong, it also does segue nicely into the other essential family tree that we need to talk about, which is Dixie Kong's family tree. And the reason why these two family trees are connected is because Dixie and Diddy are in a romantic relationship. The two of them are dating, and I literally just found this out like last week, which was like completely mind blowing. I thought the
Okay.
two of them were like brother or sister or something, but no,
Yeah, me too.
that
Are
is
just
not the
friends or
case.
something.
And if you don't believe me, here's a clip from Nintendo.
Dixie Kong is way more than just Donkey Kong's best buddy's girlfriend.
And we should all know by now that Donkey Kong's best buddy is Diddy Kong. There should be no confusion there. Now we can properly analyze Dixie Kong's part of the family tree because I feel like there are a lot of Kongs that are in this tree that are really popular Kongs among the Donkey Kong community and just the fan base in general, like Chunky Kong, Kiddy Kong, and Tiny Kong. Anyway, Dixie is supposed to be the older sister between her and Tiny Kong, but the two of them have parents that are somehow connected to Chunky and Kiddy Kong's parents that makes the four of them all cousins, where Kiddy Kong is supposed to be the youngest cousin out of the four of them, and Chunky's supposed to be the older brother between him and Kiddy Kong. Still cousins with Dixie and Tiny. But with that said
Okay.
and done, that is all of the family.
But isn't this kind of interesting that a lot of the Kongs are like siblings? Somehow every Kong has a sibling except for, yeah, like beginning with Donkey Kong, every Kong has a sibling except for Diddy Kong. And it's kind of awkward that all the characters of the Donkey Kong crew are in the end more or less related to each other, like family related, blood related.
Family tree that I could actually define using real evidence and source material. There were other characters that I had to leave off, even though I personally felt like they could have easily made it on here, like Funky Kong and Swanky Kong and also Lanky Kong. But the issues were there was no hard evidence to support them being biologically connected to all of the other characters, especially Lanky Kong. He's actually specifically non-biologically connected, where he's actually a distant cousin of DK the Third, the Donkey Kong we all know and love. But the other characters, Funky cousin of DK.
What does it mean, non-biological distant cousin? Like, so he was adopted into the Donkey Kong tree from someone who's somehow related to Donkey Kong, Swanky Kong, maybe. I don't know, like I could imagine Funky Kong to be a brother though, but actually I never saw one of them really as a brother of Donkey Kong, and more like as own characters.
DK the Third, the Donkey Kong we all know and love. But the other characters, Funky and Swanky, were really hard to put on this list because I felt as though they really could have actually made the family tree, but that's going off of my own opinion and not true hard canon. The only reason I say this is because Funky and Swanky have a really strong resemblance to DK, so I feel like there could be some type of brotherly relationship there, but it's not confirmed, so I kind of left it off. To be totally honest with you, I think the hardest part about making this family tree was realizing that there's a lot more Kongs that we just don't know about than we do. And I think it was really hard to make it in the beginning because I had to piece together information that really was hard to find or just didn't exist. But I think I slowly but surely began to figure it out. Let me know how I did in the comment section down below. But anyway, with all that said and done, thank you all again so much for watching. This is Sonic signing out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Super blessed day on a Donkey Kong December day. This guy convinced me he's gonna get a like. I actually like this video. It's pretty short and compact, and I really liked it. That's pretty new. Lucky me. I was looking for other Donkey Kong family trees, but they were much longer, and I don't think that things always has to be like that long to kind of explain everything. But isn't this crazy that Donkey Kong's family has so many generations as well, and that they're like, I don't know, like when you're talking about Donkey Kong or when you're playing a Donkey Kong game, it's actually not always clear which one of the Donkey Kong you play. I guess with the new games it's kind of clear, but like especially with the older ones, not. Okay, thank you Sonixa for creating this video. I hope more people gonna watch it. Thank you for putting your time into it. I think it was a lot of work to research all the shit, everything. It's not shit, I'm just saying it like this, but researching all the stuff, I can imagine it was like a lot of work. It's not really, like with Mario and everything, it's like the games are just games and it's not like so much explained. So I think it was a lot of work. So guys, check it up. And now we know more about the Donkey Kong family. I think it's gonna help us with the future Donkey Kong Summer videos. So I don't know. I just can't find the right words right now for the things I want to say. So I think I'm gonna just finish it here. So I'll also wish you a blessed and wonderful day whenever you're gonna watch this video, and see ya in the next one. Bye bye.